Welcome to Kart Class, brought to you by 18 times Australian champion David Serra. Kart Class strives to give kart racing drivers the fundamental driving skills, kart setup, and the mindset required to take you from beginner to winner. Your host, David Serra, has over 25 years' experience in kart racing and is the most successful driver in Australian history.
G'day guys, and welcome back to another episode of Kart Class. So today we're going to be discussing how to get the kart to come on a bit later on in the race. So for a lot of the guys who are setting their best lap times early on in the session, so sort of between 50% of the race distance or the practice session, and then slowly either just plateauing out from there or they're obviously going slower, we want to try and get the kart to come on later so that we're strong towards the back end of the race. So things that we can try and look out for in regards to it from a setup adjustments is, depending on how much later you want it to come on, is obviously tire pressure is just sort of a smaller adjustment that you can make. So taking a little bit of air pressure out of your tires. So when we're looking at, if you're looking at probably coming on maybe 1 or 2 laps later, you're probably going to look to probably just bleed out maybe 0.5 of a PSI up to 1 PSI. And if the kart's coming on extremely early, like in the first, in lap 3, lap 4 of a 10-lap race, then you'll probably want to look to go to sort of 1.5 to even 2 PSI lower in the tyre pressures. So again, that's just more of a fine-tuning adjustment in regards to getting the kart to come on later. Some other things we can try and look out for is also, another quite easy adjustment is just playing around with the rear hubs and just trying to move them outwards, so towards the edge of the axle or even overhanging off the end of the axle. Again, that's like a fine-tuning adjustment. So again, we're sort of looking for your smaller class, like your cadet classes and even junior classes with the smaller wheelbase. Anything from even 2 to 3, 2, 3, even 5 mil per side. That's a decent enough adjustment. So again, if you're looking to come on, just a couple of laps later, then just go, sort of 2.5 mil per side. And if you're looking to sort of, you want for a longer distance race, so that, the 15-lap finals, even a 20-lap final, or the hotter conditions, then I'd be looking to go to 5 mil per side. And that's the same for the senior karts. Again, I'd be trying to look towards going at 5 mil, per side, at a time, because of the larger wheelbase kart and so on. So the 2.5 mil is not probably going to be enough to warrant that sort of adjustment. So we've done tyre pressures, we've widened the rear track. Probably another thing that drivers and mechanics can look out for as well is to release the rear bumper. So basically just trying to undo the bolts. So instead of having a tight rear bumper system and having it locked up, you can just basically back off those bolts so that the bumper or the rear crash bar, if some of the karts around the world have just got just like the old steel rear crash bar, then just look to undo those bolts connected to the chassis. And what that does is, just by allowing it to flex a little bit, it just allows the kart to release out of the corners a little bit nicer as well. So again, that's probably more of a setup adjustment than the rear hubs. It's going to have more of an effect from a driving point of view. So again, depending on how much grip you've got and how much you want to release out, that's probably the third point of call that I'd be looking to do. If it's quite a drastic adjustment, so again, the kart is just hopping around the corners and it's quite hard to drive and it's getting heavy in the steering, then I'd sort of be looking to go towards the rear axle. So for most chassis that we see these days, generally the stiffer the axle, the more grip it's going to take away from the rear of the kart. So again, that's just a general rule. It doesn't mean that for a particular kart and a particular compound of tyre, it might have an adverse effect, but as a general rule, I'd be looking to go to a stiffer axle to try and get the kart to come on a little bit later as well. So yeah, like I said, there are probably 4 things that I'll be looking at in regards to allowing the kart to, peak towards the end of the session, and just again fine-tuning the kart to depend on, which part of the session that you're currently peaking and plateauing out, and how much further in the race distance that you want the kart to, keep dropping the lap times. Because if we're looking towards our finals, like I said, we want to be peaking around the 80 to 85% of the race distance. That's when we want to be seeing our personal best lap times. If it's anything before that, if it's like the 50% race distance, then we have to make some some more drastic changes, rather than if we're at that 75%, then it's just going to be a smaller adjustment. So hopefully with those little adjustments, you guys are going to be progressing further with your races, moving up the field, and also being very, very strong towards the back half of the race when the races are run and won. So, like I said, thanks very much for tuning into another episode of Kart Class. If you've enjoyed the episode, please click the subscribe button and leave us a review. Also, if you've got any other questions that you want us answered, feel free to send us a message or just check out kartclass.com.au for your kart racing needs. Thanks, until next time. Cheers.
If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to learn more about your kart racing, be sure to check out kartclass.com.au for driving courses catered to all skill levels.